I was trying to remember exactly how many years I've been a pastor. I'm going for 13 or 14. I don't think I've cleared the 15 mark yet. I'm somewhere in that range. And in my years between Mount Vernon, Hershey, Sutherland, Nebraska, Bertrand, Nebraska, Chicago, all these different places I've served, I've had a question posed to me many times, sometimes from the right, sometimes from the left. And the question is, Pastor, if we are supposed to have faith, and our faith is supposed to feed our politics, like affect it, then why is it that you never speak out against anything? And I'd say, and I've said this to many of you before, the reason I don't is because I was always able to look at any situation, whatever the political hot topic of the day is, and I could look at the Republicans and I could look at the Democrats and I could say, I got Republicans who are faithful, good people who care about the poor and do everything that we heard about in the things, right? Right? The poor, the needy, the oppressed, right? We hear it all over in the Bible. And I say, well, I got Republicans who also don't care, right? I got Democrats who care. I got Democrats who don't care. And what I'm concerned about is that you care about the poor. How you think the best way to take care of the poor is your business, not mine, right? And while a Democrat might go ahead and say, let's create a government service for that, and a Republican might say, let's give a tax cut to create jobs for that, I say, hey, that's just a matter of perspective as long as you're trying to help the poor. And so I'd say, I don't preach except for go help the poor. Because from all the administrations I've lived through, from George W. Bush, who I think was president when I first got ordained, to Barack Obama, to Trump term number 1, to Joe Biden, I could always look and say, from their perspective, they're trying to help the poor. That was until about 2 weeks ago. Because something happened. And I'm not saying universally they're not, I'm saying specifically we got a problem. And the problem was the attack on Lutheran social services. I don't know if you've seen it. Elon Musk came out on Twitter, or I guess it's X now, not my platform, I've never been on it, and bashed Lutheran social services. Basically accused them, first of all, accused Lutheranism of not being a thing, and he said, who are these Lutherans? Well, hi. Okay, everyone here, pretty much Lutherans, we exist. Second, basically accused money laundering between him and Michael Flynn, okay? So I want to talk about Lutheran social services because we at Nativity deal a lot with them. I have dealt with them in every single call I have, from Illinois to Nebraska to Wisconsin and in between, all the way over here to Pennsylvania. Folks, 3 weeks ago, before this was a thing, we were raising money to help people who had fires destroy their homes in California. That was Lutheran disaster relief, right? Remember that? That's what you should have put on your checks. That is an arm of Lutheran social services. Back in September, we put together PACs as part of God's Work Our Hand, where we do 12 different major things in our community. One of them was Lutheran World Relief Kits, right? Remember that? That's Lutheran social services. Every single congregation I have been to has had a group of mostly women get together and make quilts. They then give it to Lutheran World Relief, or another version of Lutheran social services. What I'm here to tell you is that the quilting ladies are not money launderers. That is ridiculous. You know them. You love them. They are not evil. It is messed up that I'm defending the quilting ladies from allegations of money laundering. The reason I step up and say this now is not just because it hit Lutheranism, because it hit the Episcopalians, they've hit the Moravians, they've hit all these different social services, and I cannot say how that could ever help the poor. Right? Like, I could squint and look at any of the former administrations, and I could say, well, George W. Bush wanted to privatize Social Security because he thought it would go ahead and save Social Security at the end, and that's how he wanted to help the poor. Or Barack Obama wanted to build a massive new system of consumer protection, so that's how he thinks he's helping the poor. Or, Ronald Reagan wanted to go ahead and have tax cuts so there'd be more jobs, and that's how he thought he was helping the poor. Like, I can sort of see from their perspective, regardless of what my ideology is, how they're trying. There is no way attacking Lutheran social services is helping the poor. Now you might say, well, hold on, Pastor, we don't know yet that it's a joke. I'm going to say, sort of fair, but I'll tell you right now, the Episcopal Social Services didn't get their checks this month. They're not telling Lutheran Social Services if they're going to. Episcopalians got attacked about 2 weeks before we did. We got about 2 weeks till we learned if we're in the same boat with them. Here's the thing. Even if they don't cut the funding, even if it was just a really awful joke, there will be people that will believe them and will stop giving to Lutheran social services, and therefore people will go hungry because of it, even if it is just a joke. There's a responsibility when one is a leader, no matter how big or how small, to look out for all those people listed in today's scripture. It's what we do as church. You say, one of the things evangelicals used to love back in the 90s when I was a kid was, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus would not be making jokes about the poor. Jesus fed them. He cured them. He helped them. He was there for people who were in need. That's what Lutheran Social Services does. That's what Episcopal Social Services does. That's what Catholic Social Services does. That's why they all work together. Because these are good people, right, left, and center. I can tell you with absolute certainty, because I know some of you have shared with me how you vote, and some of you vote this way, and some of you vote that way. I can tell you with surety that just that four different parties are represented when we packed Lutheran World Relief together. There were Republicans packing next to you guys. There were Democrats packing next to you guys. There were people who would never vote in their life packing next to you guys. There were Greens. There were Libertarians. There were people from everything coming together because you know what? There's things more important than politics. What's really sad is good people from all parties are under attack. And the poor aren't going to be helped. And to what end? Now, some of you are probably sitting out there going, hey, aren't you doing exactly what you criticized the bishop a few weeks ago for doing? And I'm going to say no, because here's the difference. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do something in Allentown before I get done with this sermon. Why? Because it's already affecting people here. So, Church of the Redeemer, down near the Rose Gardens, Episcopal Church of the Redeemer. If you don't know it, go travel down there. It's a beautiful church. Has been working closely for years through Episcopal Social Services and Lutheran Social Services and other social service organizations and nonprofits and Jewish groups and so on and so forth to help refugees that our government said this is a refugee. These aren't people who came across the border. These aren't anything like that. This is our government certified by the UN, certified by the U.S. State Department from places like Iraq, Syria, and Sudan. My guess, if you're coming from Iraq or Syria and our State Department says you need help, it's probably because you helped our young men and women when they were fighting in those countries. Sudan, if you don't know what's going on there, it is a mess. People are getting killed. There's some horrific things going down. We have 16 families in Allentown that were promised to be helped when they got here by the U.S. government. The U.S. government then took them to Episcopal Social Services and the Refugee Center in Allentown and said, hey, can you help? We'll provide 70 cents on the dollar for all the help that we want you to give them. And we said, sure, we'll raise the other portion, because that's what we do. The government's decided to cut the funding for the services we've already delivered. So the check isn't coming through. That left the Episcopalians short $100,000. Now, they're bound and determined to get this done, get this through, help these people because we made a commitment to them. We got to fall through with it, even if our government won't. So here's my opportunity for you to join in the ministry, in the sacramental moment of extending this table from something God did for us by feeding us with his spiritual food. Expand that table out to our fellow humans. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, we have a Facebook site. You can go directly there and give directly to the Refugee Center. It is right under what would have been the Saturday service, but that got canceled. So it should be right under this service. So if you guys on Facebook are looking, go ahead and do that. For those of you who are here in person, we will have 2 buckets, just like we do for a lot of organizations. On your way out, you can give. If you say, man, I don't have a check on me, I don't have cash on me, that's okay. You can use our Facebook site. You could go ahead on your check and put Refugee Center of Allentown. We will get it to them, just like we do with any other thing. Because there are 16 families and kids who deserve food, who deserve help getting part of the school district, who deserve help making sure that if they get sick, someone will help them. Because we said that we would do that. And the distance between what you say and what you do is integrity itself. The bigger the distance, the lower the integrity. And we are people of integrity as Lutherans. We should be people of integrity as Americans. So as you go out today, you can do that. Help us raise money. Help us help these 16 families. You can also, if you say, man, I don't have the money, that's okay. There's lots of other things you can do. You could go ahead and call Elizabeth Eaton and ask her why she hasn't joined the lawsuit about this with the rest of the mainline Protestant denominations, the other 47 denominations, including Catholicism and a good chunk of our evangelical brethren. You should ask her why she isn't part of that lawsuit yet. That'd be really helpful. That's just a phone call. It doesn't cost you anything. So as you go out today, take some time in your life and ask yourself, what can I do to fulfill the promises of the Scripture today? What can I do today to help my neighbor? For no matter what law you point to, understand the greatest law is this: love your neighbor as you love yourself.